what's your story? What's your background in the space? Obviously, we've seen you around a lot here at Beyond Clean. You're a part of the Beyond Clean advisory group. You've been an expert on our channel before as well. But yeah, introduce yourself to the folks out there.
I have over 20 years of healthcare experience. Before that was early childhood education. Started out as a scrub tech and working as a scrub tech where you process your own instruments. So that's how I learned sterile processing. And they were hiring a supervisor. And the staff approached me and said, I want you to apply. And I'm like, I don't know sterile processing. And they said, we'll teach you. And through the years, went from supervisor to manager, then worked for instrument tracking company, doing implementations, doing clinical work, and then came to Barnes a little over a year ago as you said, the director of sterile processing with 148 staff members, and we are still growing.
Just in case folks are not familiar with the facility there in St. Louis, what's the story of Barnes Jewish? Kind of fill us in on that.
I am at Barnes Jewish Hospital, or as people call it, Big Barnes. We have 75 ORs. We have 5 different pods, so our ORs are divided up into different pods depending on the specialty. I have 2 sterile processing departments and then 2 HLD processing departments, and we're pretty big. I just heard 4th of July weekend, 95 add-ons, and that didn't include our scheduled. So yes, we're busy.
All right, so we're talking right sizing and future proofing in your SBD. Let's talk about the key indicators or those triggers. And if you're out there in this space today and you see these, you should be thinking, you know what, we may need additional equipment. We may need to renovate or do new construction in this space. What are those warning signs, those red blinking lights that should say, okay, we've got a potential problem here?
Yep. So I think, common one is I was thinking of age. So the age of your equipment. It's been here forever. We want the latest and greatest is one thing, but then also with that is compliance. What's being required, what is recommended. So even we think of ST108 and water quality, now we're going to look more at clean steam versus that house steam. And the other big thing is looking at your capacity. So it's one thing to say, okay, well, here's how many sets we processed last year. Let's take that and divide it by 365. And there's our average. No, because even though I said we had 95 add-ons on one weekend and still had cases scheduled throughout the weekend, you have to account for those days that are your super busy days. You have to count for even those services that give you those super busy days. And so it's you got to look at the big picture.
So let's talk about accounting for growth. In the beginning stage, you say, yes, this is where we're short capacity wise, and this is the current volume, but we know there's probably going to be surgical growth or maybe service line growth. There may be staff growth. Kind of talk us through how you navigate those.
Look at the big picture with that to say, well, how many minutes are you in the OR? How many trays are you processing? Use your instrument tracking system. Look at that inventory throughput. And then look at it from past years and say, where's your growth? Now, one of the conversations I just said is, I know we don't have anywhere to expand. I know we don't have any plans to add new ORs right now. But what is our expectation for growth as far as the number of surgeries? Not just saying, well, we're not adding more ORs. No, we've got new ways to do things. It's faster, it's quicker. So we're used to be able to do, 2 cholecystectomies. And now because we're doing lap choles, we can do 5. So it's looking at that bigger picture with that, as well as in your staffing.
But when it comes to IP, and we're talking the AME audits, the TJC, the DNV visits, how do those requirements impact your decisions when we're talking about renovation, construction, equipment, like what you're selecting, why you're selecting it? Is it kind of the overarching structure, or are there specific things that you're referencing? Talk us through how you navigate that.
Always use your compliance to your benefit when you're making your proposal or that S-bar for when you need something. So my ultrasonics, as I said, if it can go in there, it should go in there. Well, if you don't have enough ultrasonics to do that, yet the IFU says ultrasonic or best practices ultrasonic, if, Amy, Joint Commission, HSPA, whoever is saying, hey, if it can, it should go through there, aside from even the IFU, then utilize that, because that is your supporting documentation. That is your proof. I hear people say, oh yeah, because Joint Commission, we don't want to get cited. It's not about Joint Commission and being cited. A Joint Commission, I welcome them into my department because I think I'm doing everything the way I'm supposed to. So if you find something, then thank you. So that's where I say utilize your rules and regulations. When you go to replace equipment, my biggest thing is work with your vendor. Always do your due diligence. My thing is always look at least 3 with anything you're going to purchase or consider. And so work with them. Say, hey, here's what I got. What do you recommend? And really want pass-through sterilizers here. So our current sterilizers are 20 years old. And I look at this like, well, we can't, because the other side of that wall is a hallway. And then it's supervisor office, conference room, and locker rooms. Well, there's nowhere to move those, and it's just not feasible. Well, Ryan, my Belimed rep, came in and said, let's turn them 90 degrees. Let's turn them this way out into the department, and then you can get your pass-through. Like I say, it's thinking outside the box, rely on your rep. It's looking to say, okay, what is this going to impact? How is this going to work? So we are going to lose some of our storage, our sterile storage, but that's my opportunity to say, okay, these sets need to live up in the OR. These should be up here anyways. I'll find somewhere to put them. So now we took care of actually 2 problems, because we got our pass-throughs, and then we know these sets need to live in the OR, and now we're going to get them up there. Do your homework and do everything you can to prove and make your case. About 10 years ago, as I was making the push for us to get a cart washer. I know that those case carts are not getting clean when you hand wash them. We all know that. We're doing the best we can. So I went and bought ATP testing, and I cleaned that case cart, and my ATP testing was in the hundreds. And I'm like, there's something wrong. I'm like, it's not me, because I know that I know it. And I said, okay, if I can't clean it well enough to get a good reading, there's something wrong, because I did a thorough, and we know that we're hurrying, so we're not normally doing as thorough. So I went to our OR and said, hey, we're going to start testing because we're pushing to get a cart washer. And they go, yeah, we beat you to it. They said, we've been doing it for the last month. Here's your numbers. And we were sending case carts up that have been cleaned, hand wiped with the purple Santa cloth. And they were in the 2,000 and 3,000 numbers.
Wow.
But my experience in all my years with Belimed has been wonderful. And even with the technologies that they offer, so we're going to be getting the Smart Hub in all of our machines. We're going to then interface with our tracking system. And so what a great opportunity to, as I say, let's work smarter, not harder. So now that will document those loads. So your washer loads, your sterilizer loads, it'll document that pass fail, what cycle it was ran on. So there's none of this guessing. I've gotten phone calls at home in the evening of sterilizer, blah, 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 gave me this code or something. Well, how nice I can go to my phone, look at an app and go, oh, no, there's something blocking the door. Doesn't need a repair, just something simple. So how nice to have that. And then as I would tell customers, do that interface especially if you're in a rural area. Because if I do have to call for service, they have to come here, look and see what's wrong. Hopefully they have the part. If they don't, now they have to order it and then come back again to make that repair. Well, how nice if we have an issue, they can now, using that smart hub, they can look and say, oh, hey, it's code whatever, call the rep or the repair service rep and say, do you have part ABC in your truck? And he says, no. Okay, I'll order it. It's at his house tomorrow. He now goes and brings it, and it's fixed the next day.